I'm Jess. I'm a nurse and a mom with a passion for flipping furniture. I'm using that passion to pay my way to gain my master's in nursing. So join me in this journey and let's flip this script. Okay, today we have a piece I'm so excited about. It's solid wood. My husband found me this for free. It is so cute. I thought it was just like particle board when he told me about it. And then he picked it up and I could not believe that it was actually real wood. So it is gonna need a little work, but look at the cute details. It's completely solid wood, but it needs some work. There's a couple chips in places. It did come with a mirror, but we're gonna use the mirror for our gym. So that's what I'm working on today. So to start off, using my favorite crud cutter, pre-paint cleaner, just clean everything. I do this before I sand, just to make sure grease and grime and little bits of debris doesn't get ground into the wood, especially if it's a softer wood. So I use this everywhere. I also vacuum the interior, especially if these have bottoms. I like to vacuum it out because you can see little spider webs. I like to get rid of that. So, and then I go over it with this, either this or TSP, but I like crud cutter better. So here I am just sanding everything down. I start with an 80 grit sandpaper. The key here is to just let the machine do the work. Don't push too hard or you get gouges and divots. And then I move down in grit. So I'd go to 120 next. So I was using the razor scraper because the chemical scraper I used was awful. It was like gummy and gooey and I couldn't even sand through it. But then I cut my finger. But however, I got most of the crap off. Now I'm sanding. I'm trying to figure out if it's actually like if the top has a veneer on it and no particle board. I hope it's good wood under there. Yeah, keep you posted. Okay, so I was originally just gonna scuff sand because I'm gonna paint this, but whoever painted this just painted directly over veneer with no priming and no scuff sand, so it's just chipping off as I sand it, and I want my paint to actually stick and not chip off, so I'm scraping it off. And even though my finger hurts, this is so satisfying. I love this, but there will be a couple chips in the veneer, which is okay because I'm just going to sand it anyways, so it has, the paint has a rough surface to adhere to. So that is the plan. Here again, I'm just scraping off this awful stuff. It took forever. There was like 3 coats of different color to paint on top of the veneer. We're back at it again, new day. Yesterday was seriously spent. I thought I would get two dressers done, well, at least sanded yesterday, but then finding the veneer on this and sanding too far, and the edges, like where I'm doing now, like the base, I love the base, but the veneer on it is super chipped and damaged, so I want to remove that. But this is stuck on, so I'm using a technique that I saw on Pretty Distressed, and it's a wet saturated towel, like not dripping wet, just saturated, and going over it with a hot iron on the cotton setting. And then just taking my putty knife, and it has to stay wet if it dries up, and it's actually working so good. Oh my gosh, you guys, I literally sanded through veneer for hours yesterday. This is working so good. So go follow Pretty Distressed. She has great tips, and she's a really fun channel to watch. I'm gonna do this because this is like 80,000 times easier than what I was doing yesterday. So that's the plan. Get rid of this old veneer. I did sand through the veneer on the top 2 dressers because I want the exposed wood, and the rest is going to be like a moody green, which I'm so excited for. I think this dresser is going to be gorgeous. It's just a lot more work than I anticipated, but at least it was free, so that's something. Okay, I'm going to keep doing on this. I'll show some footage of me scraping this stuff off. So we have filled in the little holes with wood filler. It's dried overnight, and then I've done my least favorite part, which is taping everything off, the drawers, all that good stuff. And now I'm just giving it a final wipe down before I apply the primer. We are just now priming with my favorite primer, which is Bin. This is not the shellac type, but I still really like it, and I find that it lasts so long, and it doesn't have a strong odor, which I really like since I often work around my kids. So almost done the first coat. I didn't get any footage because it would have been footage of me cursing and wrestling with my stupid paint sprayer, which has apparently given up on life. So I'm using my zebra brush. Haven't used a brush in a while, so hopefully I haven't lost all talent. I just hate brush strokes and bleeding paint, so I'm just like frustrated, really frustrated. And new paint sprayers are really expensive, so I'm kind of in a bad mood now. But this cutie and I are gonna go bake some cookies, so once I get this top coat on, or this first coat on, then that is what we're gonna go do. Finally got the first coat on. I'm still so annoyed about that paint sprayer. But next is the hardware. I think I'm gonna keep the original hardware. Kind of reminds me of a mustache, not gonna lie. Wrong way. Right? Like, is it just me? No? Okay. But these were spray painted black, I can tell, because look at what's on the other side. It's like a antique brass gold, which is going to be perfect with the colors I have in mind. So I'm going to show you guys a trick, what I use to attempt to get spray paint off. If this doesn't work, then I use like a non-acetone nail polish remover. But I like to try this first because it's a little more natural, and then I don't have to buy nail polish remover, because let's be real, who's doing these nails? Okay, don't judge the mess, but this is all you're gonna do. You're gonna put your hardware in a pot. We're renovating right now, so oh my gosh, I just got vinegar everywhere. But we're renovating our kitchen right now, so everything is everywhere and it's a mess. Anyways, you just pour in enough, just plain white vinegar, super cheap, super. Ooh, it's already coming off. Oh, I have a. I cut my finger wrestling with that paint sprayer, and man, that burns. Anyways, cover it. I turn it on to medium heat, and then you're just going to let it sit in there. Sometimes I bring it to a boil first, which is probably what I'll do today because it looks like it's on there pretty good. So I'll turn that on high just to bring it to a boil, and then once it's boiling, I will let it sit for quite a while. Like generally, I let it sit for 20 to 30 minutes in here. I don't know if that's right. That's just what I do. If it looks like it's really stubborn, then that's what I'll keep it in there for. Otherwise, like 10 minutes, but it kind of varies. I just bit the bullet and ordered a new paint sprayer. It's expensive. It was like $400, which is so frustrating to me because I have a couple of pieces that haven't sold yet, and it just gives me anxiety because I am flipping furniture to pay my way through school. And even though my current class is paid for, it's just, I know that my next class is coming up and I'm gonna have to pay for it. And it's just, it's frustrating. I hate spending money, but I guess there's that saying, you have to spend money to make money. So I guess this is one of those times. But anyways, I'm excited for it to come in. Should be here tomorrow. But this is what I'm saying. Check this out. It's boiled. Look at that one. Look at how all that black spray paint has already come off. Isn't that so cool? I didn't scrub it. I didn't sand it. Haven't even stirred it. And that's after like not even 2 minutes. So these ones, I don't think I'll have to keep in there the full 20 minutes, maybe 10, because I don't want to tarnish them. And I mean, vinegar is acidic, which is why this works. But yeah, I just love that trick. I hope it helps you guys too. Excuse the white noise. I'm currently trying to get a stubborn baby to bed. So here I am just sanding between coats with a 220 grit sandpaper. This is just to remove any little imperfections that may arise between coats and helps to ensure a really smooth finish. After I do this little sand over, I take a clean, lint-free cloth and I wipe away any debris from the sanding. This is necessary, otherwise you're just going to be painting that debris in between the coats. Like there. Mm-hmm. And there my photographer, videographer decided to get a little action shot. He's my husband, so I guess we'll allow it. So after I got the first coat of paint on, I just noticed so many divots and scratches. So I took my wood filler and I just filled those divots, and I'll let that dry for a couple hours and then I'll sand it down and probably prime and paint again. It's a process, but I want it to look really good and really smooth, and I don't want big chunks taken out of it. And my special little helper wanted to give me a hand here. Okay, so we are on to finishing touches. So I am finishing off with a water-based polyurethane. This is Behr brand. I want it focus. Okay, there we go. So recoat in 1 hour. So this is really good. However, I usually use Minwax. I love Minwax's matte finish, but it's forever sold out in our town for some reason. I don't know if everyone's doing projects or if there's some sort of supply issue with COVID, which is pretty common now. Anyways, so what I do, because a lot of water-based polyurethanes can dry with like a cloudy finish with your darker colors, and it just messes with the final color. So what I do, I actually got this from DIY Wife, tip from her. I just add a couple spoonfuls, like maybe even 1 spoonful, depending on the size of your dresser, like a teaspoon of your color, and you mix it with your polyurethane, mix it together, and then do your top coat, and it prevents that cloudy finish. I generally do 2 coats of this, sometimes more depending upon the piece of furniture, but for a dresser I typically do 2 coats with the same technique, mixing it with the color that I've used. So yeah, I've got my first coat on, and I forgot to record it because I got caught up watching an episode of, or listening to an episode of Catfish, which is just 90s. I guess it was in the 2000s, but I love it anyways. And I'll wait for an hour, and then I'm going to do a second coat. I honestly probably won't wait the full hour because it's super hot today, so I think, and it's right in the sun, so it's going to dry faster. Yeah, and then this dresser's almost done. I still have to stain the drawers, and I picked out Special Walnut in Minwax, so I will finish those while I wait for the top coat to dry. So for the top 2 drawers, I really wanted to bring out that beautiful natural wood grain, and so I used Special Walnut. I'm just applying it with a cheap Dollarama or Dollar Tree sponge brush, and then I leave it on for like a minute and wipe off the excess with a lint-free towel. Second coat of the top coat is on. Now I'm just doing the satisfying part of removing the painter's tape. I tape a lot because I usually use a spray gun, but mine since died, I just already had it wrapped. So I'm going to take this off, and then I'm going to condition this wood on the base, and then I'm going to stain it the same color as the door. So stay tuned for that. And that's on doing projects with little kids around. So I have stained all the wood that I'm going to in the Special Walnut, and now I'm going to seal that wood with the Wipe On Poly from Minwax. And there we have the finished piece. I absolutely love this one. The moody greens, the exposed wood, the mid-century vibes. And even though it took me longer than I've ever spent on a single dresser, I love it. It's probably my favorite. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you would consider subscribing as a new channel, that would really help me out. And I am so excited to keep flipping these furniture pieces and to continue my education to get my master's in nursing.